Scott, did you know that now hotels are doing digital specials to where it's not like, I think I probably gave the wrong catchphrase, but it's like you turn in your phone while you're staying at the hotel and you like have a media break from your technology.
That sounds terrible. Vow, view, vow, view, vow, view, vow, view, vow to view, vow, 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 vow to view,
vow to view each other's movies, even though we don't always like them, but it's okay because we love each other and movies too.
Hey everyone, welcome to Vow To View, your doof media podcast all about marriage and the things we make each other watch. My name is Elyse Daly.
And I'm Scott Daly.
And together, we're the Dailies.
You didn't mess it up this time.
I'm really good.
Well, I mean, the trend lately has not been a good one.
I had one mess up.
Pretty sure it was 2 weeks in a row.
It's okay.
This is the weekly podcast where each week my wife Elyse and I pick a movie and make each other watch it. Then we sit in front of some microphones and talk about those movies and about ourselves and about music, I guess, this time. Elyse, what is our theme for this week?
You said music, and I was thinking to myself, what music are we talking about? But then I realized it's because we're doing musicals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why we're talking about it, for musicals.
I don't know if the microphone's going to pick up the noise you just made, but it was like this.
Probably not.
You're looking off in the distance pondering, and then suddenly it connects, and you do this. And then you it's amazing. At least what are we talking about this week?
I just said we're talking about musicals.
What musicals?
Well, I picked Meet Me in St. Louis, a classic musical, a beautiful musical. And you picked Little Shop of Horrors.
Classic musical, a beautiful musical.
It's a musical.
1986 is a
it's the year my sister was born.
Now. Pretty classic now.
Is it now?
It is.
Why?
I don't know. It's just a long time ago now.
Yeah, it is.
It's like,
what show is it? Oh, that 70s show. I told you it came across my fax.
Yeah.
That when that 70s show came out, it was the same amount of time passed in between now and the 90s, so they could have that 90s show.
They do. I mean, not
they do.
They don't call it that, but they have a bunch of 90s throwback stuff right now.
What do they have?
I mean, we watched that one show on Netflix that got canceled after a season that was about kids in the 90s.
Oh yeah, is that canceled?
Yeah, it's done.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Everything Sucks, I think it was called. It wasn't a bad show.
I kind of liked it.
I did too. Speaking of bad shows.
Bad shows.
It's time for this week's edition of
shows. Bachelorette.
It's been a while. It's good.
Yeah, I think we should do the same thing that we did for the other song. We'll just record you barfing like a really good amount of time.
No.
And we'll just let that happen.
Because I got to cycle through my types of barf. Like, not every barf is the same. So you got to try the different.
What are the different types of barf?
Okay, well, there's like the chunky one, right?
Okay, let's hear the chunky.
Are we really going to do this?
Yeah, we're really going to do this. Okay.
Yeah.
Other than chunky, there's
like the water hose one.
Okay. Then
there's like the dry heave, right? There's like it was a little wet. It was not that dry.
Yeah, and there's also
there's so many more. We don't have time to go through them all right now.
You couldn't think of another one right off the bat, and now you have one almost in your head. So you're like, yes, I stalled enough time. Do you have your other one?
I don't. You're just assuming things that aren't true. It is time for the Bachelorette.
That's another one.
Off-season
what
tour.
What type is that?
Is the Scott type.
Off-season tour is what you said.
Tour,
so that means that while Bachelor is not, or Bachelor in Paradise, anything in the Bachelor franchise is not on air, we decided instead of talking about that franchise, we are going to pick another reality show.
Yeah, just another reality TV show we're going to talk about.
And we're going to watch some of it and see if we like it, start it. And, maybe we'll watch a lot of episodes. Maybe we'll watch one. Maybe we'll watch two, and then we'll talk about it instead. And so what did we watch this week, Scott?
We watched a Netflix show.
Yes.
We watched Netflix's The Final Table,
Yes.
which is a cooking competition show, the likes of which the world has never seen.
The world's seen something similar to it
it's
before.
it's just 24 chefs, and they cook like at different places around the world is the thing. Like, I think
Okay, so it's a cooking show, and obviously it's like a
cooking
team
competition show,
Yeah, it's a cooking competition show, and so there's always the challenges. I will say I like the fact that they are going to different places around the world and focusing on that type of cuisine. So I think that I kind of either learned some dishes that I didn't know about, or like some ingredients that were key to that region that I didn't realize. And so I kind of like that. I think the show would probably be best for people that are like real foodies, just because I don't know who these chefs are that they're bringing in, and they're like, so-and-so from Spain. And everyone that's an actual chef is like weak in the knees. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that I'm going to cook for, I don't even remember his name.
I got my first Michelin star when I was 2 years old.
Well, yeah, but then there's, other people that are the contestants that have multiple restaurants with, this one has 2 Michelin stars, this one has 3 Michelin stars. So, I mean, they're all supposedly great chefs already for the most part. And so then they're just going to do this, and I don't know. I liked the idea of the traveling around the world. I've also seen a lot of cooking shows. What cooking shows have you seen?
MasterChef.
Just MasterChef? Okay.
I don't watch reality TV, so if you've watched it with me, that's the reality shows I've seen.
So I watched, what have I watched? I watched Chopped. I watched MasterChef, MasterChef Junior.
That's not true. I watched Iron Chef when it was in Japanese and was on like one of the cable channels late at night.
I used to watch Iron Chef. I've watched Cupcake Wars. I've watched...
Okay, we're going to be here all day if you list all the cooking shows you've seen.
Okay, so I'm just trying to like say I am not an expert, but I've seen my fair share of cooking shows. The one that I thought was pretty creative that I watched over the summer, I think, was that Sugar Rush show.
No.
That was something that was a little bit different than I had seen before. But this one, I think what is strange to me is the fact all of the other cooking shows, there's no audience until the very end. Like with MasterChef, they bring in all the people back and they have their families come and see it. And that makes sense. But this show looks like it's actually filmed in front of a large audience.
Yeah, well,
which is weird to me.
It's a bad show. It's not a good show. I mean, like, I have a bone to pick with cooking shows in general, and we'll get to that. But
you have a bone to pick with just cooking shows?
Yeah, they're stupid.
I mean, they teach you a lot of stuff.
So this show is like it's huge, like it's enormous. It's like the arena is like the size of a football field, and there's big. Like a stadium seating of people watching this cooking show, and like they try to do fancy camera angles. Like we watched 2 episodes of the show, and at 4 different times throughout the show, they have this big crescendo of music, and then the music fades away, and then they do this slow overhead shot as this peaceful music picks in as the camera like glides, and I'm like, guys, it's people.
I do kind of like that.
It's people making tacos.
I liked the time thing across the bottom.
Here, like
it looked nice,
and that's the other problem with the show. Like they wanted to do this like big show, right? They wanted it to be like Netflix wanted to come and be like, we've just changed the cooking show game.
You know what they don't have though? They don't have Gordon. And if Gordon's not on the cooking show,
I'm sure he'll be in it at some point.
He can't be on it. It's a Netflix show, conflict of interest, right?
I don't think they have him to a non-compete clause. I doubt it. I think he can appear as a guest judge.
I don't know. If he does, we should have watched episode 3. He would have been on that one.
So the other thing that I think is bad, so they wanted to make this big change the game cooking show, and their first episode, the episode that you want to hook people in on, is Mexico, which is fine. But the thing that they have to cook is tacos. Like these are like tacos are wonderful.
Tacos.
Stop it. That's how the British people say taco. taco.
Tacos.
I have a British friend that we meet up every year at Fantastic Fest, and that's how he says it. And
He
I'm
orders
like,
the tacos every
I'm
year.
like, it's taco. Stop saying taco.
Taco.
Anyway, they're not like, it's like super fascinating watching people make tacos. Like,
Tacos.
I mean, are you going to do that every time I say it?
I am.
It's just not interesting. And that's not a great way to start your big giant show. It's like, all right, we're going to make tacos. And like the most dramatic things that happened in this episode was these two people made 3 types of tacos. That was a mistake. And I don't know. Like I think cooking competition shows are dumb. Because
I like the dessert ones.
I don't think that's
the chopped is kind of fun.
I don't think
I think they're fun. Sorry.
I don't think cooking competition shows measure skill at cooking. Like, I don't think the winner of the competition is the best cook. I think the like, it's like when you're in school and your teacher's like,
It's like an essay competition.
you can't use a calculator or something. Even though in the real world, you'd be able to use a calculator. Like, no chef in existence has to be like, all right, you have 60 minutes and you must make this thing with used garbage. Go. It's like, that's not like, yes, the skill
measures their technique.
The skill of making food quickly is a good skill, but you don't like, you have time to plan out your menu normally. Like chefs don't just like say within 30 seconds, like, all right, we're going to do this, this, and this. And then the judges come in and are like, what the fuck? Like, these flavors don't go together at all. And I just want to be like, Gordon, they had 45 minutes to do this. Calm your shit.
Well, and also the difference between us watching MasterChef and this show that we have been watching is MasterChef is home cooks.
Yeah, well, that's
so
the other thing. Yeah.
That would be like you and me going and trying to compete it. But these are people that have gone to culinary school, had multiple restaurants on different
they're all good chefs.
So like, yeah. But I mean, I still think that when you have shows like that, the best cook really does come out for the most part. I don't like the ones when you have like partner competitions, and because of the partner competition, people can be eliminated because then you get paired with a bad partner and then the actual better chef leaves because the partnership wasn't as strong. And that I don't think is fair. But that's just like my whole thing about group work too. You have to make sure that you don't have one person doing all the work in the group and everyone else either benefits or suffers from it. It needs to be equitable.
Well, but that's the whole thing with this thing is that there's no accounting for taste in these shows. Food tastes, the things people like are very subjective. And I think you can take a chef in there to judge stuff and a food critic in there maybe to judge stuff. But when you bring in celebrity guests and the dude's like,
the boxer, yeah,
not spicy enough. Well, some people don't like spicy tacos. Like, how? Like, it's like bringing, like, it's like judging a painting, right? And saying which of these two paintings is the best painting.
Yeah,
I don't know. It depends on what type of painting you like. And I don't know. It's just stupid.
And I did have an issue with that too, in that I realized that one of the critiques they had with one of the tacos was that it was too sweet. But then at the same time, are you judging it based on, is it true to what's traditional, or could someone have made a dessert taco and then you're going to ream it because it's a sweet taco?
I like sugar.
You know, and so
again, you have, out of the cooking time, you have probably 4 to 5 minutes to plan your recipe and to like decide your flavors. And I'm not saying like these aren't good, like they're not good at their job, and it's not indicating that they're good at their job. It absolutely is. You have to be so good to be able to make these things, but the judging of it just drives me crazy. It's just like, I will watch Gordon Ramsay because I think he's hilarious, but like this show, I was just like, this is dumb. Like when the guy from Mexico that has a Michelin star restaurant in Mexico makes a taco and they're just like, it's not a good taco. I'm like, come on, it's a good taco. Like he's not gonna not make he has a taco stand.
You know, if he called it a taco, he might have gotten it.
You're really just not going to let that joke go.
I'm not.
All right, so that is the final table. We've watched 2 episodes. Are you going to watch more of this?
I'm going to table that show.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Thanks.
You know what this was missing too?
What?
Guys and girls getting wasted and proposing to each other. It's just not the same.
I don't know. We might have gotten there eventually.
We might have.
You know, you can cook with some wine,
It's true.
some alcohol, liqueur.
All right, Elyse.
Yes. It's time for Rosies and Thornies. Right? Or did I steal it? Is
No.
it time for something else?
No,
It's time for Rosies and Thornies.
Yeah.
It's time for Rosies and Thornies.
Every rose has its thorn,
Has its thorn.
just like every night has its dawn.
Dawn, dawn, dawn.
Every cowboy sings a sad, sad song. Every rose has its thorn. Yeah. Jesus. This is the part of the show where we talk about the good things and the bad things that happened to us in the past week. Well, Elyse, what is your good thing?
I
Go.
had 2 really good things.
Oh.
So I hope I don't steal one of yours, 'cause I
Uh-oh.
don't know what yours are. I don't even know if you looked. Did you put yours on the thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not even looking at it. Okay. So first thing that I you wanted the water. You may have some water.
You've taken it
So
away
I
from
thought
me.
you were gonna, like, gripe at me about not having a coaster on the desk, and then I was like, it doesn't have some ice in it to where it's going to, cause it to sweat, so it's not going to have a ring, but you can have the water. So first thing that I was really excited about was last time I talked about how much I was excited about decorating the inside of the house, but this weekend we decorated the outside of the house, and it looks beautiful. It is so pretty. I love it. It's so bright. Did I steal what you did? Is that what you were going to do?
Kind of.
I didn't even look. I'm sorry. But my other thing is my Christmas came early this year. So not only did I get Christmas outside, I got Christmas decorated inside last week, and I got some of my Christmas present, and I love my Christmas present. And it is so much fun. And Scott got me a Peloton.
Which is an indoor bike.
It's an indoor bicycle.
It costs so much money. But you know what? It's not a problem when you just finance it and then you're just in a massive amount of debt, but your wife is happy.
Yeah, it's so cool. And I was spinning on it, and it was so much fun. And I was going to wake up early this morning, but I was really tired, and so I didn't. But I'm going to be able to do it tomorrow morning before I go to training, so that's going to be fun.
Well, I mean, I'm
really excited.
One of the things we talked about over the summer was how we were going to spin class all the time.
Yes, and it was
I think
so
that
much
was one
fun.
of my roses at the time, and we were loving it and having so much fun. But it is expensive.
And you got
It is-
sick.
Yeah.
I remember what really happened was you got sick, and then it was hard for you to breathe. And then we weren't going to class,
I
and
had
then
a
we
respiratory
realized,
infection.
yeah, and then we realized how much money we were spending, and it wasn't worth what we were, doing. So then we stopped it.
We were doing like a 4-pack class per month,
Yeah,
which is
it was $72 a person.
$2 each. So that's $144 a month to ride on a bike 4 times.
Yeah,
So this Peloton is expensive.
but it's less than that per
It
month.
is cheaper than that per
And
month.
you
and we
and
get to
I-
ride it
yeah, we can ride it
infinity times.
And many times. So it was really a better deal if you think about it like that.
Sure.
It really is. We're saving some money.
But
But
no, it's cool.
spending
I haven't
others.
gotten to use it yet because they don't make shoes my size. I have big feet and they
Yeah.
don't fit. Their maximum size is 13 and I wear size 14.
13 and a half.
Sorry.
I called to check for
Which is
you.
weird because when the guy was setting it up in our house, he said, "We don't do half sizes." He was wrong.
Well, there were 2 sizes that were half sizes, and they were 2 men's half sizes. All the others were whole numbers.
Well, I'm glad. I'm happy.
Yes, it
that
was
you
so
liked
much
it.
fun.
I'm happy that you
I
liked
really
it.
like it.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I wanted to wait until Christmas, but they said they were delivering it on Monday, and I can't hide a giant exercise bike from you.
Yeah.
There's not enough room in this house, so.
Yeah, there's not.
But now you get to use it
I know.
all December long.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. What's your Rosie?
My rose is I didn't fall off the roof.
That's a big Rosie.
It is.
That is huge.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, we did Christmas lights, and last year, we live in a 1-story house, so it's not like a roof super tall, but we have a central eave in our house that goes up probably pretty high. It's probably it's not 20 feet, but it's probably probably more than 12. It was taller than double our ladder size, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, last year we used like an extension pole thing that we clipped the lights onto. So it was like a 10-foot extension pole that I could like hold above my head and clip the lights under the shingle, and put our lights all up and down the eave. The problem is it didn't look that good. It looked droopy.
It didn't.
Like the line wasn't super taut. It looked kind of droopy. It just didn't look tight. Like, it didn't look clean. And I didn't like it. So this year we kind of said we got to change things up. And changing things up means I have to be up there to attach each individual part of each individual strand to make it look clean and taut and everything I wanted it to be. So I had to climb up on the roof.
And it looks nice.
It does look really nice. And I didn't fall off.
Right.
It was one of those things, like the first 5 minutes, your brain's like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. This is weird. I don't like it. Stop it. And like you feel like you're gonna slip at any moment, or you're gonna fall. And it's like, I mean, it's not like a super steep gradient, but it's not like it wasn't flat. And then I was up there for probably about an hour. And by like the last 15 minutes, I was just kind of like hanging over the edge. Like all my nervousness about being up there evaporated until I had to climb back down on a ladder. And that was a little scary.
Yeah.
And like that.
I tried to help you out. I think I might have made you a little bit more nervous than you.
Well, you did things. You tried to help me out. As I'm climbing down the ladder, you go, what if I just grabbed your leg right now? That's not helping me out. That's the opposite of helping me out.
Well, I was trying to like help stabilize you, so I thought it might have helped if I like grabbed your foot and put it on the ladder. And
no. You grab.
I was just trying
grab
to
the ladder
help.
and you hold the ladder.
I was trying. I did what I could.
So yeah, in conclusion,
I kept you from falling.
In conclusion, our lights, mwah, they look great.
They do look great.
I love it. I love Christmas. Love our lights.
Yeah.
Best house in the neighborhood by far. By
far.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you trim the bushes.
I couldn't. I had so many good things happen this past week. I trimmed some bushes.
Yeah,
out
we have those net lights. And our bushes had not been
They hadn't been trimmed since we moved into the house.
Moved in.
So that's like what, almost a year and a half, probably a little
It's
bit
more
over
than that. Yeah, and like 6 months ago, my dad lent me his hedge trimmer, and then we just never did it. And then my dad got tired of. My dad apparently just went out and bought another hedge trimmer because he got tired of me not giving his back. Sorry, Dad. But the bushes are trimmed.
Man,
now.
they look nice.
They look nice.
I just keep staring at them outside of the window. That Sunday, I just came back in multiple times because we had the blinds open in the front room, and I just, those bushes looked so nice.
You got a little thing for bushes going on.
It's nice when I trim the bushes.
Yeah, I got to trim those bushes, Elyse.
Yep.
All right, so Elyse, that was all the good stuff that happened.
Yes.
What could have gone better?
I don't know. What could have gone better? I forgot I had. No, it's been okay.
Cool.
It's just work stuff, but I mean, like, that's just, everyone's got stuff. I don't know if I could really like pinpoint. Oh no, this was the week that I was sleeping awful, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you used that already, though.
Did I use that already?
Is that not what you said last week?
I don't remember what I said last week.
You gotta start writing these down.
I probably should. I wasn't sleeping really great, but that's been better. So yeah, I guess that would be it. Not sleeping great, but I'm on the downward hill from that.
That's good.
Yep. What about you?
Your dog keeps peeing on the carpet.
I think we've already said that before.
Yeah, but like it's been really bad. It's been really bad the last couple of days. It's been real bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Ask Maggie.
What is she doing that's different?
There's a lot of pee.
Huh.
I wake up to shower and there's a puddle in our bedroom that I have to clean up before I go to work. It's gross. It's really gross.
Maybe you should stop giving her water at night.
I don't give her water at night. I give her 0 water. Why are you looking at me like that?
Scott, you gave her water one night.
No, I didn't.
Forget what night it was. There was one night,
No,
and I was like, hope you let her out before.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we let her out. She thinks she can do it now, and so she just does it.
Well, 2 more years. We should place bets. I think that would be the best thing. Well, I'm sorry that was so awful for you.
It's okay.
Is it?
That's the end.
Yep.
End of the show.
Okay. What are
Wait.
we doing next week?
No, we still have movies to talk about.
No, we don't have any movies to talk about. We have musicals to talk about.
Movie musicals.
We've got musicals.
Elyse.
Yeah. Is it my week to go first?
It is. Tell me about your movie.
So I chose Meet Me in St. Louis, which is originally from 1944. It was directed by Vincent Minnelli as an excuse to bang Judy Garland. No, they met there. Yeah. So Meet Me in St. Louis tells the story of a rich white family in 1903 St. Louis, Missouri. The Smiths, who have 5 children, for some godforsaken reason, face all kinds of very serious, extremely dramatic problems like, what if my boyfriend calls during dinner? Why did my boyfriend punch my 5-year-old sister in the face? And why is my dad forcing us to move to New York, which is definitely a better city than St. Louis? It's got that one Christmas song in it, though, so everyone loves it.
This is pretty accurate.
It does have that one Christmas song in it.
No, I think it's a very accurate summary that whoever wrote that, probably like a award-winning
Should get
writer.
Uploaded to IMDb.
Yeah, I think so. Let me just go edit that.
I think you
real
should.
quick.
I think that would be a really good thing. But so yeah,
Why did you pick this movie? Talk to me about it.
I mean, I grew up on musicals, and so we watched them a lot, and we loved this little musical because the littlest daughter, Tootie, was a riot, and we absolutely adored her. We also Judy Garland was one of the people that we would watch all of her musicals, and so we went through, like the A Star Is Was it A Star Is Born? I think it was A Star Is Born.
Yes.
Yeah. We did Meet Me in St. Louis. We did obviously Wizard of Oz. I forget. There was one more that we would watch too that was hers. And so we would just go through all of those. And Meet Me in St. Louis was just the one that we kind of latched on to because of the family of girls, the funny little character, and we just liked all of the music with it. The trolley song was huge, but I think that the most fun was our little Tootie singing "She Was Drunk Last Night, Dear Mother." My little sister thought that was so much fun to sing too, because we were like, ah ha ha ha. Anyways, and so it was just, I think when I go back to musicals that I appreciate when I was younger, it's the musicals that I had fun recreating the scenes in the movie and singing the songs. And this is one of those where we thought it was fun to sing the songs and recreate the little dances that they did as a family, because it was not so dramatic that you couldn't redo it, like the dancing and stuff like that. Like I could never recreate the dances from West Side Story, but I could sing the songs and pretend to do it. But these were very simplistic, that was easy to kind of replicate and have fun with and play around with.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I enjoyed it. And then, learning the history of the Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas song with it, and kind of the importance that played to the movie, and then to just Christmas songs in general today.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, I had not known until very recently that was this original song from this movie, and just became popular. I think it was popular from this, and then Sinatra probably blew it even more popular.
Yeah.
Pretty depressing song originally. It was changed a little bit.
I mean, there are a lot of depressing songs originally, or if you look at before the lyrics are changed to what's the popularized version.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I liked this movie a lot. I had never seen it. I had heard of it. You had been singing songs from this since we met constantly. I think the trolley one is the one you sing
Bang,
the
bang, bang went the trolley. Ding, ding, ding went the bell. Zing, zing, zing went my heartstrings. From the moment I saw my fell.
This is a very like old Hollywood like type of production,
And
right?
I love
it's big,
yeah.
it's long. There's lots of different kinds of numbers. It's very funny. There's not like the storyline is almost second. Like they didn't care. Like it's more. It's less of like a A to B story and more of just here's a bunch of things that happened to this family this year. Because it's like the 6 months before the 1904 World's Fair, which was a thing that actually happened in St. Louis that was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very traditional white American, like nuclear white American family, right? Like it's very that picturesque image of that. And I think this movie is probably partially responsible for the creation, or not the creation, but the proliferation of that type of, traditional American family view, right? Like I think a lot of people watched this movie and said like, this is the family I want to have. This is the family I want to be in.
Yeah.
This is what I want. A lot of people said. And it's like a large family. Everyone's living together. The grandpa's living there. They've got their servant lady.
Nan, yeah.
Yeah.
It was based on an autobiography.
It did not.
Yeah. So it was
Judy Garland?
Suzanne Benson or something like that.
Never heard of her.
She was an author, and so she wrote her
Sally
story.
Benson.
Sally Benson, yeah. So it was based on her life and the book that she wrote about it. And so she was supposed to be like a combination of the younger two daughters. So I think that's probably why, if you're thinking about the storyline not having, a main plot with like that central conflict that everyone is, like just trying to get through, that would be why, is because it's not, it's just this girl's life and about what she did before that fair. And so it's just them then taking that story, thinking about how it would be in terms of a family, and then making songs to go along with it, and then finding Judy Garland, who didn't even want to do the movie, and then convinced her to do the movie, and then turned it into what it is today, and then gave us Liza Minnelli, who, oh my gosh, did you know? Okay, Scott, no, hang on. I found something out, and I don't know if you know this, so hang on.
This is really like deep pull trivia.
Okay, so Liza Minnelli, her dad is Vincent Minnelli.
Yeah.
But her mom is Judy Garland.
No way.
Yeah, so Liza Minnelli's mom is Judy Garland, and she met her, dad, or Judy Garland.
She met her dad?
No. So Liza Minnelli's dad met her mom on the set of this movie.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Elyse. So this
it's just probably one of those things that I was told and I forgot, and then I realized and was like, I didn't realize that
she looks exactly fucking like her.
I mean, she's got black hair, and Judy Garland had red hair.
Her face, look at her face.
I mean, I know. Once I looked at the face, I was like, oh yeah, it makes total sense.
It's so funny though, because we bought the Blu-ray of this because Elyse really wanted this movie. So
I'm so glad that we have it. Aren't you glad that we have it?
Yeah.
That was a weird look you said when you said.
Because I'm in the middle of telling a story.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
And so the movie starts with like an introduction from Liza Minnelli.
Yeah.
Where she's basically setting the stage and talking about her experience, like the stories her parents told her about the production of this film.
Yeah.
And Elyse is like, why is Liza Minnelli here? And I just gave her this look and I said, well, she's Judy Garland's daughter. And like you had this look of like, it was really, really funny.
I know.
You of
Who
all people
knew?
See, like, I mean, there's probably going to be people listening to this podcast that didn't know that.
Yeah.
But that's fine. You are like the musical queen.
Well, I like Liza Minnelli. It's one of those things where I know the name and I know that she sings, but I probably couldn't tell you a lot of stuff that I know her in, or like original songs that she's done. So she is, like if I'm thinking of people that are in musicals, I think like, yes, Julie Andrews. I think Judy Garland. I think, Who else do I think?
Yeah, I'm not saying you should know Liza Minnelli from Liza Minnelli. I'm saying you should know Liza Minnelli because you know Judy Garland.
Yeah, I mean, probably. Oh, well. You win some, you lose some.
So, Elyse, I have some things to talk about in this movie.
Well, what do you want to talk about?
Halloween.
Yeah. It was very different.
Yeah.
So nowadays in Halloween, kids dress up. They dress up normally in costumes that, are like a theme with their whole family. And they go out and they trick or treat. And then they come home and they, put their candy away. And then the parents eat all their candy. And it's just a wonderful time.
Not the way it happened in 1903.
Evidently not.
1903, all of the neighborhood children get together, including the two youngest children of the Smith family, one of which is 5 years old.
Yeah, she doesn't look 5.
The other's probably 8.
Probably.
So they go out alone at night. Their parents don't go with them. It's a very different time. There's a fire burning in the middle of the street, and
they set a bonfire.
Yeah, they grabbed a bunch of like pieces of wood. Assumingly, they stole it from places, and they created a big fire in the middle of the street. And then they got a bunch of flour, and they ran around to people's houses, and they threw flour in their face.
But when they throw the flour on their face, they say that they killed them.
Yeah,
I killed him.
Yeah,
and it's like, no.
It's kind of really fucked up.
Yeah, it's that whole origin, I guess, of the trick or treat.
Yeah, I mean, it's the trick part of the trick or treat. Yeah, but so then our two little adorable, cute little girl characters that have this kind of morbid fascination of death take was it like a dress?
Oh yeah,
and
they took a dress and they
take a dress and they stuff it with hay and they throw it in front of the trolley. And they said they did this because they were hoping it would cause the trolley to derail and crash. And like that's literally what Macaulay Culkin's character does in The Good Earth, where he throws a doll off of a bridge to cause a pileup. And that's really bad. And then Judy Garland's like, it's like, you're terrible. And then the scene, and we're just like, we've just left that behind. Your kids like are really fucked up and they don't really get punished for it, except for her love interest punches the kid in the face, which turns out to not be true. She was lying because I think this kid, the 5-year-old
has some issues.
Probably like a sociopath. Like I'm not even trying to be funny here. This kid's fucked up. She's really messed up.
A few years later, we end up finding her in The Bad Seed.
Is that the same girl?
No.
Oh.
It was a joke.
Oh, it was a bad one. It was a bad seed
I was just saying
joke.
that it was the Tootie girl would turn into the Bad Seed girl.
Yeah, you didn't set it up right. We'll just cut this part out. No one has to know.
You'll never cut those things.
No one has to know
out.
how bad
anything where it's bad for me or it makes fun of me, you always leave it in because you think it's funny.
Yeah.
Ha.
So I liked this movie. I mean, it's big. Like Minnelli loves to frame Judy Garland. That's one of the things Liza Minnelli said in the intro, which I noticed a lot, that he loves to frame her within frames, like she's in door frames or she's in mirror frames, or she's constantly being framed by stuff. And he loves just like sitting the camera on her and having it not move.
Well, she's gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh, she absolutely is. But like, I think both songs she sings, like The Boy Next Door and the Christmas song.
Have yourself.
The camera like barely cuts. It's just like on her the whole time. It's like one setup, one frame, leave it there, focus on Judy and let her charisma carry you through the scene. And it does, of course, because it's freaking Judy Garland. Yeah. And she's fantastic. And everyone else in this movie is fine. Like that's a weird thing. Like, I mean, the little girl is adorable, and really, really funny. And Judy Garland is charismatic and wonderful. I don't really remember anyone else in this movie.
You don't remember Rose on the phone with the guy? Oh, do you have something else to say?
She's kind of funny.
And then the whole family looking back behind. He said.
Well, yeah, like this.
But again, that's the little girl.
Well, it's 1903, so, phones are relatively new.
Yeah.
And they're, like, having this phone conversation, remarking on how amazing the ability for them to just, like, one person be sitting in New York, one person be sitting in St. Louis, and them having a phone conversation. But it's a terrible connection. They can't hear each other at all. It's like, it's just like we're sitting in the same room.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Oh. How's your time in New York?
What time is it in New York?
How's your time in New York?
Anyway,
Did I blow it up the mic? I tried to lean away.
It's fine. That
Okay.
was a funny scene. That was funny. I think the movie's great. I honestly think the movie is great, and I think the songs are good. I really don't like "Meet Me in St. Louis." I don't like that as a song very much.
That's probably the weakest one. I will say, though, I was actually kind of nervous rewatching this movie because it had been so long since I had seen it that I was hoping it was not another Thoroughly Modern Millie incident to where I had the songs and I couldn't remember like all of the storyline that went along with it. And so when I rewatched it, I was slightly holding my breath, but then I just could not help but laugh so much.
Well, it's really funny. It's really funny.
The dad is really funny.
The dad is like he's like barely in the movie kind of, but he comes in the movie and like all this stuff's happening and no one fills him in and he's just like indignant about all of it. I love when like he goes around the room asking who knew about the phone call tonight and like everybody knew and he's like, so I've been voted out of this family. He's really good.
I liked the part where he was complaining about his job and then the Judy Garland, I think she goes, well, Dad, why don't you just get another job? And he was like, well, then why don't I just go play baseball? I mean, they've got it. Yes. And then he was like, I'm so sorry for that comment. And I was just like, no.
Father, if you don't like practicing law anymore, why don't you just do something else? And I mean,
he says entirely reasonable.
In a very 1903 way, but he's basically like, oh yeah, because I can just find another job. Just do another career whenever I feel like it. Judy.
I loved that movie.
It was a good movie. It was a good movie. The songs were good.
Maybe we'll rewatch it every year around Christmas.
It's definitely a silly movie. There's not. It's light. Like there's this. I don't think this movie's going to change anyone's life. But I mean, I guess it changed Judy Garland's life because she met her husband.
Yeah. So it did. It changed someone's life.
There you go. But no, I thoroughly.
Oh, good.
Enjoyed this. It was definitely not a Thoroughly Modern Millie experience for me.
I'm glad.
I understand why this movie is as highly regarded as it is. And I get why you picked it. Because this is, again, one of those movies where I see little Elyse dancing around. Like, I could see it.
I was drunk last night, dear mother.
I was drunk the night
before. But if you'll forgive me, mother, I'll never get drunk anymore. Bloop.
She's like 5 years old, too. And they're like, oh, you can't say that. But then they just laugh at her.
I mean, that's what everyone does, right? They just laugh off little kids.
All right. So that is your movie. Anything else you want to say about Meet Me in St. Louis?
If you haven't seen it, you definitely should go see it.
Nobody meets anyone in St. Louis.
No.
In this movie, though.
No.
It's like a weird title.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about title accuracy, I think my movie takes the cake.
Okay. So what movie did you pick, Scott?
Takes the plant cake.
The plant cake.
I picked 1986's Little Shop of Horrors. This is yours was just a movie musical, right? Like there was not a stage production.
Not that I know of.
Little Shop of Horrors, this is an adaptation of a stage production of the same name. But this is the Rick Moranis movie. And now I will read the summary written by my beautiful, wonderful wife.
Thank you.
I'm sure it's entirely positive too.
It is.
Rick Moranis has done it again. In Honey, I Blew Up the Plant, otherwise known as Little Shop of Horrors. In this musical, Seymour, that's Rick Moranis, finds an alien plant and takes it back to the plant shop he works at to care for. When the plant gets hungry, Seymour learns that the only food that it wants is human blood. He keeps feeding the plant his own blood until he can't anymore, and he, luckily, remembers that his crush, Audrey, has a terrible boyfriend. Seymour feeds Steve Martin to the plant. The plant, known as Audrey 2, continues continues to grow, as does the fame of Seymour and the shop. When Seymour tries to leave the plant behind, Audrey 2 reveals his evil plan to take over the world. Seymour can't let this happen, so he kills the plant, and they live happily ever after. Or do they?
You don't know because we saw the baby plant there.
Yeah. I just want to point out that you wrote his email plan, not his evil plan.
Someone was rushing me, but thank you.
Audrey 2 reveals his email plan to take over the world. It's probably like giving a Nigerian prince some money or something. So this is Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
So I guess to set the stage for this one, this is probably the first stage production musical I saw in my life. I had seen movie musicals before, but my high school put on this musical, and I think I knew a guy who was in it in high school, so I went and watched this. So this is like the first time because as a kid I was very much into movies, right? Like I was always a movie guy. Like I was, and I liked movie musicals too, but like theater, stage, like this is not something I even thought about because it was movies, it was TV, it was games, it was and so I'd never really experienced it before, and this was the first musical I attended, and I loved it to death. I mean, I think it's like no, I don't think this is like one of the best musicals ever. I think it's really entertaining. I think it's really fun and really creepy at the same time. And we'll get into why I think this movie is a great adaptation of it. But I think it was just like experiencing the magic of the theater for the first time, and like you imprint that on the show you're watching. So like whenever I think about this musical, I think about like that experience. Also, the girl that played Audrey was really, she's hot. And I was a little 13-year-old boy, so that helps too.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so I loved this musical, and I didn't see the movie until I didn't know there was a movie until at least a few years later. But yeah, this has Rick Moranis as Seymour, Steve Martin as the asshole dentist boyfriend. Ellen Greene plays Audrey, who also played the love interest in your movie last week, Rockadoodle.
Goldie.
Yeah, and she's doing a voice thing. And she does the voice thing in the movie. And that's not just
that's
her
not
voice.
her real
No.
voice, right? Okay. Just making sure we didn't have another.
I mean, like in the
Drescher.
stage production, like she definitely has like an accent, and they're like accentuating it here. And I understand what they're doing and like why they're doing it, but
It's a little
much. It's a little much.
I would agree with that.
But I don't know. I find like I think this is such a fun movie. I really enjoy most of the musical numbers. I think "Son Be a Dentist" is like one of the most hilarious
I think
songs
that was
ever.
my favorite one.
Especially since Steve Martin is like having a great time. He's killing it. I love the voice of Audrey too. Levi Stubbs in this movie. I think he does a really great job making the plant like it's not the voice you would expect an evil alien plant to have, but it's the voice that works. I don't know. I just wouldn't expect to be as cool. Like this is the movie takes place in the early 60s, so it has this very like the 50s are fading kind of like feeling to it, right? Like the music is very like late 50s, early 60s type of fare. It's like there's hints of like a changing world, like there's a loss of innocence, right? Like Skid Row is this terrible place, and all our character wants is a basic version of the American dream, like, you know, the white picket fence, they like that's what they want, but there's like this feeling that it's going away, it's leaving, and I don't know, I just like it. I think this is a really fun, creative musical, and
I think it would be interesting to see it on stage, because I know that you're talking about, especially whenever the plant was supposed to eat people, how that was done. And it would be interesting to see how it was done on Broadway versus even in high school, you know, because if in high school it was at least done enough to where you were saying with like the, you know, costume, and it looked like it was getting swallowed because it had that hole that was cut out in the middle so they could pass through. If they did something like that, or if it was even something more elaborate, I think that would be neat to see, because you know that they would be able to grow the plant probably even more and in more interesting ways. So that would be neat.
Yeah.
I was also trying to think of, when you had said that that was the first musical that you had seen on stage, what the first musical I had seen on stage was. And it would have to have been probably Beauty and the Beast or The Lion King. One of those two. Because I know that they came to Fair Park, and my granny had season tickets. And I feel like she took us all to go see, and I don't remember which one it was. But that's what I think it would be.
So I guess something I should say is that this is, like, the show and this movie are based off of a 1960s film. Like, this was not an original production. There was a 1960s film called Little Shop of Horrors that was basically the same plot. I mean, obviously it didn't have music in it, but it's basically like an
alien plant comes.
Yeah. And he's got a lady, and he feeds a dentist to it.
So as far as this musical goes, I had heard of this musical, but I had never seen it on stage nor on a movie. This movie. I also was unfamiliar with the plot. I had no idea what the storyline was. I also had no idea what any of the songs were. It was not. So a lot of the musicals I was first introduced to when I was younger, I came across them from one of two ways. First was my mom had just known about it, and so we watched it. Second was I had a CD that was the Best of Broadway CD that I listened to all the time when I was little. And so, you know, it was like the most popular song from each of those musicals, the original broadcast, and then it would say, you know, what musical it was from. And so, like, that's where I first heard the song Master of the House from Les Mis. And we used to sing that all the time. That's when I first heard the song from Mame, and I can't remember what the title song was. That's when I first heard that, the chorus line song, you know, God, I Hope I Get It. And it's when I first heard the song Big Spender that I was talking to you about wanting to watch that movie after we had seen this one, because it's just like popular, you know, musicals, the most well-known songs from them. And I had not heard anything at all from this. So it's interesting going into it blind, because there are not many musicals where I feel like I've had an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could pick a musical that I've seen that you haven't. Like, I think this is my last one. Like, if we do a musical episode again, I don't know what I'm going to pick.
Yeah.
So, sorry, go ahead.
And this is not one where I would say, you know, like I wouldn't say I didn't like it. Like, I could say I went to go see a couple seasons ago with my aunt Bridges of Madison County as a musical. I hated it. It was awful. Did not like it. So this is not one where I would say it was awful and I didn't like it, but it was also one where I wouldn't say I loved it. You know, you were singing the songs, the one song, the Suddenly Seymour song, like nonstop since we watched it. And it was just like, I know that's the one that you're singing and I get it, but it was like, that's not a song that latched to me.
That's so weird to me, because I think all these songs, like, since we watched this movie, like, they've been rotating through my head. Feed Missy Mo.
I mean, the only one that I still kind of hear in my head is the Little Shop of Horrors, and that's because I really liked the
Little Shop of Terror,
the trio of girls,
the chorus. They're great.
But yeah, so I mean, I really liked the Steve Martin song. I liked that character a whole lot. It was just, and I was trying to think about it afterwards, like, what is it that in a musical makes it a musical that I love and experience? And I don't know if it's necessarily like just a big name. I was thinking that it was like songs, but also choreography, because I love like big music, big band, but also big choreography to complement it. But then I was thinking To Meet Me in St. Louis, and that had like little to none choreography. And so I couldn't base it on that, but it was just, I don't know. It was one where if you asked me, you know, like, hey, let's go get tickets to see that, I'd say, sure, we can go get tickets
I would
to
love
see
to
it.
see it again.
But if it were going to be the third or fourth time, I would not want to go do that. Whereas, you know, like Book of Mormon, I would go see that 5 times.
And you have.
Hamilton, I would go see that 5 times.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would not call this a Hamilton, but I mean, yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's just like, it was musical. It was good. It was fine.
But I love it. Like, I love these songs. That's so, I mean,
yeah,
I get it's different. It's not like, I don't think there are any songs in this that like are really like Broadway musical type songs.
Yeah. Which is interesting too, because I didn't know that Alan Menken was the one that had done it.
Yeah.
You know, but he's
the guy.
He's the guy. All Disney Broadway.
Yeah.
I mean, he does all the Disney music, and then for the Broadway shows, he writes new songs to go along with it.
But
and some of them are good, but
I do see it. You know, like I see like in a song like Suddenly Seymour, in a song like the dentist song. So I see Menken in them. Like I do. Which is again why I'm so kind of surprised that nothing in this really latched onto you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know there was one original song written for this movie?
I did not. Which one
It
was
was
it?
Mean Green Mother from Outer Space. And I'm bad. It was nominated for an Academy Award. The only movie nominated for the first movie nominated for the Academy Award that had profanity in it. So they had to edit the song when it played during the Academy Awards. Yeah. Fun little fact. I guess we got to talk about the end of this movie as well.
Oh, yeah, because you were telling me that there were 2 endings and you weren't sure which of the endings was going to be in this movie because we rented it, right?
Yeah, we did. So Frank Oz directed this movie, as in Yoda, Frank Oz.
As in, what about Bob?
Yes.
Frank Oz.
As in, it's our second Frank Oz film in Vow To View. Not something I figured would happen. And they screen tested this movie with the original ending, and it did not do good.
And the original ending was?
In the original ending, everybody dies. Everybody. Like, in the released ending, Audrey is in the shop and like the plant tricks her and then bites down on her. And then in the original ending, Seymour arrives just in time, pulls her out, and she lives. And then they manage to defeat the plant and go home happy. And then there's a little credit stinger where there's a little baby plant alive, so it's not over. In the original ending of the movie and the Broadway show, this is how the show ended. Audrey dies. Audrey's dying breath to Seymour is, feed me to the plant because I want you to be happy and I want you to be successful. And the only way for that to happen is if you keep this plant alive. And so that happens. And then Seymour is about to kill himself because he's so distraught over what happened. And then right when he's about to kill himself, a salesman comes and says like, hey, we can like take bits of this plant and cultivate more ones and sell them, and they'll be in every room across America, which is what happens in the movie as well. It's just differently framed. And so in that moment, he decides he has to defeat the plant. He runs in there. The plant pulls down the building around him, like
what happened?
Like what happens in the regular cut. Only Seymour doesn't miraculously live from the building being pulled down around him, and I think the movie ends on the plant spitting out his glasses and laughing. And then there's like and there's like a news conference that's saying it's like the biggest hit. Like every family in America has an Audrey 2 in their house, so it's like
we would not get an Audrey.
They
2.
won. It's like they won. The plants won, and people hated it. And you know what? Test audiences are stupid. Like, just make the movie you want to make.
Is the original Broadway ending what your high school chose to have as the ending?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And this is the thing I love about this musical, and it's the thing I love about this movie. The Audrey 2 special effects are difficult, right? Like, so in this movie, it's all practical, which is something, you admire. Like, that's something I love about weird movies from the 80s, is that they're using practical effects, but it's like the finest practical effects because they really mastered it by then. And I think Audrey 2 looks fantastic. I don't know if you agree with me or not.
I thought so too.
I think the plant looks great. Like, it's creepy, and like as it gets big, like when it's in its big final form and like breaking out of the pot and like sending vines everywhere. And I think it looks wonderful. And in the production of this I saw, which was at a high school, I think they borrowed the Audrey puppet from some bigger production or something. They definitely didn't have it because it cost thousands of dollars. There's no way my school could have afforded that. But it's this like giant puppet that takes 2 people to operate, and like has this spot in it where as the plant's eating someone, like they can go in it into a tunnel under the stage. It's so like it's so inventive, and I just love it. I love like the more I get into musicals, the more I like the weird offbeat different ones that do something a little different. And this is one of those, and I just love it. I hate test audiences. Stupid.
I appreciate when musicals are trying to do something different and it works. Like going back to Hamilton, like how the set was done for Hamilton and how all the costumes were done for Hamilton. I mean, like you see or you heard the music and you thought, oh yeah, this music is great, and you loved it. And then when you saw it and you realized what they were doing, like big picture wise with it, it was so incredible. And I think I really do enjoy whenever they do that with musicals, like this with The Little Shop of Horrors, even with Lion King, with how the animals worked with all of the like, I appreciate the creativity with it instead of the let's just put it on a screen and then have the animals come out. And I think, like there are times and places for that. But I think at the same time, sometimes it's just nice to look back and see like, this is how creative you can get and what we can do with us as ourselves.
Absolutely. Because it's like, it's problem solving, right? It's like you sit down at a table and say, okay, we're going to make a movie, we're going to make a Broadway show about this giant alien plant that is trying to take over the world. And we're like, okay, how the hell do we do this? It's like, well, the plant, we could just do like have the plant be off screen or something. It was like, no, you can't do that. Like it's too big of a character. It's like one of the most important characters in the story. We have to be able to show the plant. And so you figure it out. You figure a way to make a puppet that looks real enough and works in the scene.
And then how are you going to make the puppet grow?
Right.
I mean, like, it's just, I think it's neat.
Well, in the musical, the puppet grows by like the guy's hand just extending and the stalk grows, and then they switch out the puppets in between takes.
Well, yeah. But.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I get why this is not like, I didn't expect this to like be your new favorite musical. I'm a little surprised that the songs didn't work on you as well as they did, but I'm glad you at least got something out of it.
Yeah.
And did you know?
Probably not.
Elyse, Steve Martin, Bill Murray. How many movies have they been in together?
This is the only one.
Correct. This is the only one.
I did know that.
This is the only movie that Steve Martin and Bill Murray have been in together. And I can't remember. It's been too long since I've seen the show. I can't remember if the Bill Murray bit was like a thing that was in the musical, or they just like said, hey, Bill Murray can come here and shoot like a day's worth of scenes, so let's just do something
And
there.
they probably did that because, was this after, I guess, What About Bob?
No.
This was before What About Bob? I would have thought that this...
I feel like it's before. I'm not sure. I don't remember when What About Bob came out. Let's look it up.
Because I was thinking if it was after What About Bob, then this would have been the perfect thing where Frank was like, hey.
Yeah, it's definitely before. What About Bob was in the 90s.
Well, then maybe this is the character that showed Frank Oz that Bill Murray could be Bob. He is like Bob.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking during the movie. I was like, this is kind of Bob.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And it's just like, that's why I think maybe this is just something they threw into the movie because they could. Because like, it's just this random thing where like the dentist who's the sadist who like loves torturing people comes up against a guy who like loves to be tortured and he just can't stand him.
And it has nothing else to do with
it. Nothing to do with the movie.
He never comes back. Yeah. I'm glad that it was in there though. That was the best part. It
was not the best part.
It was the best part.
It's not the best part.
The Steve Martin, Bill Murray thing was my favorite.
Fine.
Steve Martin as a whole was my favorite.
Oh, he's so great. He's having so much fun with that character.
The laughing gas was hilarious. Yeah.
What'd I ever do to you? All right.
Steve. Yeah. So that was our musicals.
You know what I wish we could do on
What?
this episode? I wish we could play songs from both these musicals. But if I do that, I'm going to get copyright flagged.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Even
Could we
though-
link to them? Like,
Yeah, we could. I'm sure. Yeah, we'll just throw
we could
some
just
links
link
in there.
them.
Yeah, we'll
that
do
way
that.
people could go and listen to it and
Yeah.
we wouldn't get flagged.
There you go.
See, we're like building puppets.
You did it.
Thanks.
You did it. I mean, I wish I could just reference the song because that's under fair use. I can reference a song when I'm talking about the song. But you know what? Whatever.
It's okay.
The internet is not fair.
Fair use.
All right, Elyse.
Yeah. So what are we doing next week, Scott?
That's what I was about to say.
But if I do it, then you
what
have to
I
answer it.
was
And then, okay, so we're in December and we're nearing the
forget
time
December.
of Christmas. And we were trying to think about, we want to be able to watch holiday movies, but did we do Christmas movies last year? I forget what we did around. Oh, we didn't even have this last year.
we didn't have this show last
Yeah, we didn't have the show last year. But instead of doing like a month of Christmas movies, instead of doing what movie is like our, I guess, favorite Christmas movie, we're doing next week is our favorite movies that we watched around Christmas time that are not Christmas movies.
So, yes and no.
Or that's how I interpreted it. That's how I sold the idea to Scott. And then I don't know what he picked.
So I'm calling this non-Christmas Christmas movies.
Okay.
where
He's
it's-
calling it non-Christmas Christmas movies, but the idea behind it came from I watched this movie when I was little around Christmas time. It reminds me of Christmas, even though it's not a Christmas movie.
And my problem with that whole thing is I don't watch, like, the movies my family watched around Christmas were Christmas movies. We watched Miracle on 34th Street. We watched White Christmas. We watched It's a Wonderful Life. We watched A Christmas Carol. We watched...
And we watched those too. It was just we also had
those are the movies we
this.
watched. Like my mom and her family used to watch Wizard of Oz every Christmas. That's what they did. But I never really had that. I thought for a second of picking Alien versus Predator Requiem because one day my mom, like, one thing we did sometimes do is on Christmas Day, in the evening of Christmas Day, we would go to the movies. And one year, my mother let my father pick the movie we would go see on Christmas Day. And my dad picked Alien versus Predator Requiem. And then that stopped. We weren't allowed to, my dad was not allowed to pick anymore.
Oh, poor thing.
So, but I didn't pick that. So you picked a movie that is not about Christmas at all.
It does have Christmas in it, but we watched it around Christmas.
That you watched around Christmas. I picked not necessarily a movie I watched around Christmas, but a movie that is definitely not a Christmas movie, but takes place around Christmas time.
Okay,
so what did you pick?
I picked Little Women.
I have never seen that movie. Do you know that?
And no.
Or read
I
that
did not.
book?
I've never read the book either, but I've seen this. It's the version with Kirsten Dunst, with Susan Sarandon.
Yep.
And I'm blanking. Oh, Winona Ryder.
Yep.
Winona Ryder. That's the big name. She's the one that plays
I've
Joe.
heard of this movie. This movie has been on my radar
I love this movie
for a while.
Yeah, Claire Danes is in it. Yeah, so Claire Danes, Winona Ryder, Kirsten Dunst, and then I forget who the other daughter is. There's 4.
Well, we'll find out when we watch it.
Yeah, we will.
I picked a movie of equal quality.
Yes.
I picked 2000's Reindeer Games. This is a movie starring Ben Affleck, Gary Sinise, and Charlize Theron.
I like Gary Sinise.
It takes place around Christmas time, at least,
Okay.
because there's reindeer.
So it's Reindeer
games.
Olympics?
No, it's they wouldn't let him play in any of the reindeer games. I'm not going to tell you anything about this movie because I want you to experience it because it's magical. It's a magical movie.
What the movie is about?
Yeah, why don't you tell me? I mean, you know who's in it. You want me to tell you who directs it? Maybe that'll clue you in.
Okay.
John Frankenheimer directed it.
I don't know anything John Frankenheimer did.
Well, I suppose.
John Frankenheimer is his name. His name is my name too.
He directs a lot of
Whenever
weird.
we go out, the people always shout, "Please let me play the reindeer games." La 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 la. John.
Wow, that's exactly what it's about. How did you do that?
I mean, it's a gift.
Wow.
It is a true gift. Wow. Yeah. So, what do you think Little Women's about?
I think it's about Little Women.
I
think it's a coming of age story about a bunch of little girls. Someone dies. I remember one of them dies.
Oh my gosh, it's so sad. It's so sad.
All right, so that is going to be next week. Reindeer Games and Little Women, 2 movies that go together like Christmas and Reindeer
Hanukkah?
Games. No, because those go together well.
Don't these go kind of together?
No.
Oh.
That's the joke.
Like Christmas and
Halloween. No, because The Nightmare Before Christmas. Those go together.
like Christmas and
Frickin'
Valentine's
great.
Day?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
What are we doing for Valentine's Day?
It is December.
You better plan
need
something
to
good.
calm yourself down.
Hey, what are we doing for our anniversary,
It is you calm yourself down.
Scott?
Our anniversary is still a month and a half away,
Scott,
and I will not stand.
you better plan.
I will not stand
I'm not
for you
planning anything for
cornering
it.
me on the air
Okay.
about this. I will not stand for it.
Okay.
The show is over.
My thorn next week is going to be not knowing what we're doing.
Well, maybe it's going to be a surprise, and that's why I haven't told you yet. You don't
Then you'd
know.
have a different look on your face right now.
You don't
Scott.
know.
You wouldn't have a guilty look on your face like,
All right, that's all the time we have for this week. If you like this podcast, you can check it and all the other shows we do out at doofmedia.com. That's DOOF.
DWOFmedia.com.
Wow, that's a great jingle, babe.
Do you like it?
You stole it from someone else.
I did, kind
You
of.
can't.
DWOFmedia.com. It's the same one.
Also, yeah, you just did the same one again. Where you tried.
I thought about trying to vary the tune and then it just went back to the thing.
Also, consider donating to our Patreon account, patreon.com/doofmedia. Guys, we are, as of this recording right now, we are $17 away from our next goal. We are $17 away from launching our next project here at Doof Media, which is Doof Plays, which is where me, Elyse, Matt, Michael,
I'm going to
probably, Sesh probably.
Do they know what I'm going to play?
You're gonna
I'm
play,
going to play
Life is Strange.
2.
Yeah, so we're gonna
so people know.
We're gonna enter the world of streaming video games, and we're gonna do it in a Doof style. Some of it will be co-op between us. Some of it will be video game story analysis, that kind of stuff. We're just gonna enter that world, and we're so close to being able to do it. We've been planning this behind the scenes for a while. I'm very excited about it, and we're almost there. So now is a great time to become a patron of this media network if you haven't already. Check it out at patreon.com/doofmedia.
DWOFmedia.com.
All right, guys, we will see you next week. Quick thing before we go. Next week's episode is probably going to be a day or two late. Elyse is going to camp next week.
Going to camp.
Going to 5th grade camp, because that's a thing that
I'm going to go kiss a
happens
fish.
in Texas. What? Huh?
I always kiss a fish.
You always kiss? That's like a tradition? That is a fish kiss? Is
I
okay.
kiss a fish every year.
We'll talk about that next week.
It's not with any tongue or anything.
Okay. I didn't think that needed to be said, but
wanted to
now we know.
clarify.
That's good. Thank you.